Hello, everybody. Hello to our guests and our audience. It's Oscar qualifying 14th International Animated Film Festival, and today we are having 6 Q&A sessions. Now we are going to have our 5th, Love Will Forgive You Everything. I am really honored to host my guests from around the world. I'm going to introduce them to our audience. Hello, guys. Mélanie Tourneur from Belgium with a film Hold Me Tight. Hi, Mélanie.
Hello.
Hello. Then we have Mole Hill from United Kingdom with a film The OWL and the Pussycat. Hi.
Hello.
Floor Adams from Netherlands, film Mind My Mind. Hello. And then Alexey Evstigneev from Russia with his cooperating team supporting, and the movie Mom's Hair. Hi. You can also unmute. Yeah. You can unmute your mics to speak. Okay, I'm going briefly to read short intros of your movies to keep our audience updated. So, Hold Me Tight by Mélanie Tourneur. In the heart of a dark forest, while hunting, two silhouettes meet. These creatures move like predators. They attract and repel each other, seducing each other during an explosive parade. Then, The Owl and the Pussycat. The Owl and the Pussycat set sail with their few precious possessions on a journey in which they learn nothing and lose everything except each other. Mind My Mind. When relying on social scripts to survive the social world, it's not easy to go off script, especially if you are obsessed with German dive bombers and just want to date a girl. And then we have a film, Mom's Hair, by Alexey Evstigneev. At the age of 4, Lisa lost all her hair to alopecia. In an effort to protect Lisa, Mom cuts her hair and makes wigs out of it. Growing up, Lisa tries to escape from the world of her mother's hair. Guys, once again, it's really a big pleasure to host you. I have some general questions to all of you. And I would like to start with Mélanie. Mélanie, what inspires you as a creator in general, not only with your current film, but in general? Where does your inspiration come from?
But most of the time I make like film about more sensation than narrative. So I think I'm really inspired by like energy between people, and dynamics, I don't know, colors and relationship, and some very like, I don't know, like human behavior in general, and movement of people and stuff like this. More like reality stuff than like special film or something like this.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Mole, what about you? What is your inspiration for creating animations?
Usually for me, it's images that on a particular subject or something, I'll start getting images stuck in my head. And if I can't get rid of them, then I'll start building them either into pictures or paintings, and then if there's enough of them, then they turn into a film. Yep. But it always starts with a little grain of an image that starts the process.
So it's always an image, not, for example, a word or...
No, I mean, obviously this one's based on a poem, but it's a very well-known poem in the UK. And for me, it was the images that started to come associated with that poem and building them into a kind of coherent thing. But I don't usually start with a theory or something specific I know I want to say. I just start. I get bothered by the pictures, and I need to get the pictures out.
Yeah, understood. Thank you. Flor, what about you? What about your inspiration background?
Well, I think I start with things I want to say. So it's the other way around. But also, I can also be really enthusiastic about things I see, like colors and shapes and stuff like that. But maybe most of the time it's human behavior or something that's annoying me or something I want to look into, and then I'll dive into the subject and then something turns out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks. Alexey, what about you? What about your inspiration?
Извините, я буду по-русски говорить, а Геля переведет.
Alex gonna speak in Russian, I gonna translate.
Yeah. I'm glad that we have you as a translator. Yeah. Thanks.
Вообще в кино в целом меня очень вдохновляет польская документальная школа. Кшиштоф Кислевский, Марсель Лозинский, в том
Вопрос
числе.
не про кино.
Не про кино, а про что?
Нет, вопрос про жизнь. Что тебя вдохновляет в жизни? Какие явления, какое общение между людьми, не знаю, цвета, впечатления, природа. Не про искусство, а про как бы что тебе дает для творчества основа. I was translating the question.
Мне дает кино. Мне дает кино и польская школа документального кино. Reżyserka и Кислевский.
So Alex is saying that he's inspired by Polish film tradition and documentary film tradition in film school.
Yeah.
Especially Krzysztof Kieślowski.
Reżyserka, tak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. The second question is about process of creating an animation. So once again, Mélanie, are you struggling while creating an animation, or the process is really clear to you and all the time the same, repetitive? How is it?
No, I think it's different for each film. I think it's the process. It's like the dynamic and the process. It's totally different, but it's struggle all the time. To me, I have to say, mostly at the beginning, because at the beginning you don't exactly know what you exactly want to say, and mostly for this film, Hold Me Time, I was like living what I want to say at the same time that I was telling it, so I didn't have like a distance from my subject, and sometimes it was a bit hard to navigate between all of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like this.
Thank you. Mol, what about you and your process?
With this one was a weird one for me, because usually what I do is stop frame with puppets and things, but this was a technique that I've been quietly developing, which is using wax, backlit wax to animate with. And when lockdown came along, I decided, right, now's the moment to make this film. I'm going to finally do it, because I thought there'd be no work. So I went into my garage and started making it. And so the process, I was kind of learning the process as I was going along, which was, I have to say, really enjoyable. It was just great fun to be, and because there was no finance for this film, nobody was, there was no budget, there was no schedule. I was able just to play and explore and try different things. And yeah, it was a really enjoyable 3 months in the dark in my garage.
Great. Okay, thank you. Flor, what about you?
Well, it took me almost 10 years to make this film, so it's also quite different, I think. Was a long time to come to the script. It was very hard to because it's on autism, and it's I wanted to be as accurate as possible. Yeah. Also to create a great representation of autism, and so the whole writing process took me very long. And then also, well, it turned out to be a film of 30 minutes, so it's and a big team and a co-production. So I started on my own, and I thought, well, I can do this on my own. I can do this. Maybe 10 minutes or so. And then it grew bigger and bigger. And in the end, it was like massive from my point of view, at least. And yeah, and it's already 2 years old now. So to me, it's been, well, it's not that fresh anymore. And yeah. I'm working on new stuff, and I see myself step into the same hole again. Like I'm never going to do this again. Now I'm going to create something of 5 minutes maximum, and now it's becoming more like 18 minutes, 20 minutes again. So it's well, it's a bumpy ride every time again, but I love it. Yeah.
But is it a bit different now, the process of a new project that you are working on than the previous one, or it's the same?
No, it is different because now it's the same in a way, because I like I said, I had the feeling I wanted to do everything different, but it's not possible in a way because I'm me. So this is how I work, I think. And but I'm not. I intend to finish this film in 2 years and not in 10 years. So that's a difference then.
Yeah, that's a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, thank you very much. Alexey, the same question to you about the process of creating a movie.
Спасибо. Вообще изначально это получается мой первый дебют в анимации. До этого я никогда не занимался, и пришли мы к этому из документального кино и задумывали изначально этот фильм как документальный, но постепенно все документальные эпизоды отвалились, и осталась одна анимация.
To begin with, we should say that it's our debut in animation, because we've been practicing documentary filmmaking, and we imagined this film as a documentary as we started, and then all the documentary scenes have just fallen out, and we decided to make a full animation film.
Okay. Would you add something more, or that's all?
Про процесс творчества скажи.
Я понял, да. Ну и в целом это было очень трудно, потому что это был первый раз. Очень много всего пришлось удалять, переделывать, но надеюсь, что дальше будет проще, потому что мы планируем и дальше делать анимационные фильмы.
So it was kind of challenging because it was our first time in animation, and we didn't have a checklist, we didn't have an instruction. We were trying, we were deciding not to do things, we had to redo some things. So it was kind of a tough task, but we liked it, and we hope that we're gonna practice a bit more and continue in animation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, the name of our set for today is Love Will Forgive You Everything. That's the name of a set. And I would like to start with Mélanie now and your movie Hold Me Tight. Mélanie, first of all, I would like to say, or I have to say, that my impressions after watching your animations were really crazy, comparable, and today comparable with some deep techno rave, and I repeat that second time today. Like a deep, dirty underground. You confront us with dark sides of silhouettes, nature, but not only silhouettes. What level of audience's experience did you want to achieve with your animation?
Well, first I want to say thank you for this question, because I'm a very big fan of techno rave parties and really influenced by all of this Berlin underground clubs and stuff like this. So maybe it's connected in a way, because
somehow, who knows?
I used to go there, and I used to like the energy there. So as I was saying before, I'm very inspired by energy between people. So maybe it's linked in a way with this. So it's the first time I heard this, so I'm really happy about this. It's great. And I don't understand very well the question. What do you mean by the level of audience? You mean what kind of audience?
Yeah, like did you expect some reactions from the audience after watching your animation?
I mean, like I wanted to make something like very powerful and short, and I wanted to have like something like very like emotional impact about how we navigate with our seduction and sexualities and stuff like that. I wanted to make it something like strong and a bit like how you say, like it goes like upper and upper and upper and upper,
Yep.
like an ascension, something like this, you know. And I wanted to really like the people live the same feelings than the character, like at the same time, and be doing something like very immersive and like out of like cinema concept, like more like a, I don't know, like a performance experience or something like that, you know. And like that, the sound was very important for that. And I realize also now, when I see my film in screening, the experience of the film is really different if the sound is in the sound in the cinema, it's high enough or great enough.
Yep.
Because like when the sound is quite strong, you can feel the beat also inside of you, and it makes like, for me, it makes a connection between the audience and the image and the characters. And this is for me the best condition, because when you are watching it in a laptop, you have more distance with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is that kind of impact that I wanted to do, but I wanted also to speak to everybody. Like I didn't choose like a type of audience, like young or old, and also I choose to not have like not gender character, like they are like, don't know, then you don't exactly know if they are like boys or girl, or it's a bit like ambiguous, you know, like that. Also, like a lot of people can connect with them, and also it talks like, even if it's like it's a straight couple, but I mean, like all of this like seduction, like predator behavior in our seduction are like for all kind of sexualities, I think. Like so, so yeah, I wanted to touch like very large audience.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, and does the story of these two creators reflect our contemporary way of being together in a relationship?
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, yes, it depends. I think we all have like predative behavior in our when we are seducing people. But for me, it's something that I wanted to say, this is not okay to do it, you know. I mean, I didn't want to say this is bad or this is good or something like this, but I wanted to question people about how they are acting when they are like seducing people and all of this predator stuff. So I think this is a reflection of it, but also like it's a way to let the people questioning their own way to seduce people, and maybe think there is other ways to do it, like not only in a creative way, which is not.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mol, The OWL and the Pussycat. Your film is an animated, or should I say waximated, interpretation of Edward Lear's poem from 1871. And I would like to ask you, is this poem special to you? Or is it just a pure coincidence that you used that poem precisely in your animation?
It's a poem I can't remember a time when I did not know the poem. You know, it's always been there. Lots of kids learn it as children here. Did you know it? Is it known in Poland?
I had to do some research online, to be honest, because I was imagining this poem as to be very, very deep, some existential aspects, you know, because it sounded really, really serious. And then you now are telling me that it's just, you know, everybody says that poem to children. Great.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great poem. I think it's really beautiful. Yeah. But it is usually for children. And, you know, as I say, most kids will know it vaguely in the UK. I think maybe not so much nowadays as when I was a kid. So it's kind of always been there. And Edward Lear was a very odd character. And I mean, he had aspirations to be a great fine artist and do, you know, monumental oil paintings.
Yep.
But the thing that's really survived from him are these little bits of nonsense that kind of lodge in your brain in a really effective way. And they're very simple, but they're kind of ambiguous as well. There's a lot of space in them for interpretation, which, from my point of view, coming to illustrate it or make a film of it, it means you can take it this way, you can take it that way. It's not didactic; it's quite ambiguous, which I played up in the film.
Yeah, great. Okay, and about your technique, because your technique is really unique. It's wax. So to be honest, it's the first time I confronted myself with such animation, and it was a fascinating journey. So thank you. So can you tell us what fascinates you about the wax? Why that technique? Was it just a clear option for you to tell the story?
It's a technique I've been sort of experimenting with, like between jobs for quite a long time, and I've just had little goes at it. Yeah. And what I keep finding is there's more you can do with wax. You get a lot out of it because the light comes through it. So the way that the Owl and the Pussycat is made, you have a sheet of perspex or glass with a thin layer of wax. And to make the image darker, you put more wax on. To make it lighter, you scratch away. It's really simple. That's all there is to it. But there's something about it, because the light's coming towards you, that it's got this lovely warm glow. And there's something about the nature of wax, which, because it can always be changing, it can turn into anything, that worked with the way I imagine the story in terms of the characters constantly changing, because they don't, from one shot to the next, sometimes they don't resemble what they were in the previous shot, but hopefully the poem holds it together. Yeah. So it was all about that kind of malleability and change.
Yeah, great. Also, in your statement, you said that the pandemic reality was a perfect time to share a dreamlike story of traveling the world. I also felt something different, what was really opening while watching your animation, like huge message about noticing home in a second person, in a person that we live with, for example. So noticing the home in another human being. So am I right, or should I go home?
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't approach my films with a set idea, but I'm very, very happy with this idea.
All right.
So it wasn't what I was thinking particularly, but that I'm completely on board with. It's good. I mean, it's quite interesting. With Mark, the musician who did all the music, I gave him notes and stuff, about the different feels of music I wanted, but we never discussed what the film would be about.
Okay.
But so after the film was made, and I loved what he did with the music and all the rest of it, and I said, and he said to me, well, yeah, I think the tango was right because it's a Battle of the Sexes film. I never thought it was a Battle of the Sexes film at all. But the music that he provided, with completely the wrong thought in his head, is perfect, which is, I that really pleases me.
Yeah. Okay. So it
surprises. I like surprises.
More. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Mind my mind. Time to start discussing this film. So, starting with a title which is powerful itself, because it's like Mind My Mind, ending with stunning animation, taking up important issue of Asperger's syndrome. Frankly speaking, I was speechless after watching that animation, because last time I was also struggling with finding some way of communication with people with different spectrums of autism. So that's why it was really helpful to me. So first of all, big thank you for that animation. And the conclusion I came up with is that we should learn from people with autism spectrum, creating a special space for them to communicate, to find some luck in people's relationship, to make them feel that gap that we create, maybe sometimes unconsciously. I don't know if I am now diving not too deep, or maybe exactly deep, but I was trying to find that that connection between people with autism and their way of communication, and how you filled that gap of that acting precisely. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So you want me to elaborate on this?
Yeah. If because I'm not sure if you could agree with searching in your animation the point of connecting us as people who sometimes don't know how to communicate with Asperger's syndrome or just autism spectrum. So yeah, how is it?
Yeah, that was my intention to try to show the world what it means to be autistic from the inside, which is kind of hard because you don't see it from the outside. So I had a lot of interviews with people with autism. I used to be a teacher to autistic students. I was an animation teacher. And so after I quit my job, because otherwise you can't do this interviews with students, of course, I made these questionnaires for them, like, how do you feel when you're in love? What is it? How do you flirt? What does it mean to be in love? What do you want the world to know about autism, and what's like what do we do wrong in films normally? So I try to avoid that problem. It turned out to be a film that's insightful for people who are not autistic, but also it turned out to be a film people with autism used to tell their friends and family, like, this is how I feel, which is, of course, fantastic. I had these heartbreaking messages and almost love letters from people like, oh, you nailed it. And it was so fantastic. Like, I thought, this is why I make films. I couldn't imagine what a film could do for people. And so, yeah, it's from both ways, from being not autistic and understanding how it works, or being autistic and have a portal or like a way to show how it works from the inside, or why you respond late, or why you say the wrong things at the wrong time, why you are really into a subject and you can't you can't stop talking about it. How does it work? That was the whole point of this film. Yeah. So thank you for your comment, because that's exactly right.
So I'm glad.
And also thank you so much for selecting this film, because otherwise we can't reach those people. You're the portal right now to Poland. So hopefully many people will enjoy the film. Yeah.
For sure. And were you 100% sure about techniques that you used in your animation movie, or was the process changing?
Yes, I think I was sure, and it didn't change, because in the end there were I think there were 5 to 7 animators working on it, so you can't change your way of working. And for our next film I'm trying different things, of course, because it's after working for many years, there are moments that I thought, well, I want to do something else, but I can't. This is the way this is what we need to do now to get a coherent story and style. So I'm a drawer myself, so I wanted to draw, and
Thanks
I don't know.
a lot. Thank you very much for answering. Mom's hair. Alexey, I am really curious where the idea of such heavy topic of disease come from when it comes to your animation.
Алексей, вопрос следующий. Откуда тема довольно тяжелая, довольно сложная? Как ты пришел к анимированию такого сложного вопроса?
Спасибо. Thank you for the question. Ну, на самом деле все просто. Оператор Лиза Попова, девушка, с которой мы снимали предыдущие документальные фильмы, где-то спустя 2 года после нашего знакомства сняла с себя парик, и я застал вот этот момент ее освобождения, и мне показалось это очень трогательным, и это было сюрпризом для нас всех.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the main character, Liza, is the DOP I've been working with on my previous documentary films. And since we've been working for 2 years, one day I saw her taking off her wig, and it was a big surprise for me that she's bald and she has alopecia. And that was the beginning, that was the starting point. And we started to learn about her story.
Потом я узнал, что мой друг тоже стал болеть аллопецией, и мне показалось, что, наверное, нужно подумать об этом и что-то об этом рассказать, потому что большинство людей путают эту патологию с раком и считают, что человек на грани смерти, хотя на самом деле это обычные люди, которые могут существовать абсолютно нормально.
Mm-hmm. So then I learned that my close friend also got alopecia, and this topic seemed curious to me, also because there are many people who treat people with alopecia as people with cancer, because the symptoms might be the same. Like people are bald, and you start thinking that they're ill with cancer. So I decided to somehow tell people a bit more about this thing and open the idea that people with alopecia are okay. They're not going to die tomorrow, and they're living their lives and having some relations, like relationship with mom of the character.
И мы очень долго думали, с какой стороны подойти к этой истории, и все время все складывалось о проблеме, и получалось очень социально, можно было спокойно выкладывать историю на YouTube и забыть о ней. И потом, когда я узнал, что Лиза, точнее мама Лизы состригала свои волосы, то тут история сложилась, и мы поняли, что история на самом деле не о проблеме, а о любви, о заботе, о свободе какой-то.
And it took us a really long time to find the right angle from which to look on this story, because when we started creating the script, we were making a story with a social problem, with alopecia as a social problem. And then Liza told us that the wig she was wearing was made from her mom's hair. Her mom was cutting off her own hair and creating wigs. And we got this wonder mirror, and we understood that it's a story about acceptance, about forgiving, about love, and that is more some kind of a psychological issue, not a social one. So there are both sides, but we found the one to focus on.
All right. And Alexey, are you working on something new right now?
Делаешь ли ты что-то новое? Да. Что новое делаешь?
Да, сейчас с Дашей Дорофеевой и продюсером Яна Буряк мы разрабатываем тоже новую док-анимацию, которая основана на письмах отца к дочери из ГУЛАГа.
So now we're working on a new short animation film with Dasha, the lead animator, and another producer, Yana Buryak. It's a story about letters from a father to a daughter. It's a documentary story based in Russian 1930s. And the father is being sent off to prison, to the famous Gulag.
Okay.
And he's writing letters to his daughter from Solovki Island, the island where many intelligent people were imprisoned.
И интерес истории в том, что в этих миспах он решил не рассказывать дочери, где он на самом деле находится, и присылает ей гербарий, рисунки, будто бы он находится в научной экспедиции.
And the curiosity of the story is that in these letters, the father is is trying to pretend that he's not imprisoned, but being a member of a scientific expedition, and he's sending flowers, some pictures, herbariums to his 5-year-old daughter, and he's trying to somehow create an imaginary world of his happy and interesting expedition life while he's being working for Soviet prison.
Yeah.
Надеемся, что вторая попытка будет качественнее, лучше.
And so we hope that our second try in animation will be more just better
Quality.
and with more quality.
Yeah. So I keep my fingers
More
crossed
successful.
for your further
Thank
project.
you.
And
Thank you
before
very
we
much.
say goodbye to each other, I would like to invite our audience to the last set for today at 7 p.m. Thank you guys for being with us. It was a huge pleasure to host you, and I wish you all the best for your future projects. Hope to meet you someday. You never know.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.